What is going on, good people? We got a little discussion coming up right here, right now, in your face. We're talking a little bit of Shut up, Casey. We're talking a little bit of UFC, which is weird for us because we don't talk UFC very often. But it deals with a couple of wrestlers, and the UFC topic. As you guys know, CM Punk fought for the second time, and he lost again. And
Real bad.
as Casey says, real bad. He's getting a lot of backlash for it, which comes with when you lose. That's kind of what happens. And one of the biggest critics of CM Punk and going to UFC and leaving WWE is not necessarily the fans per se, a little bit, yes, but it's actually Corey Graves. So I guess first, let's just talk about CM Punk's second fight that I didn't watch. I watched the first one, didn't watch the second one. And I guess CM Punk's career as a whole and like what this means for him. I don't really know what it means because you never know with CM Punk. He's kind of a loose cannon. But at the same time, like I don't understand why everybody's so mad that he went to UFC. He wasn't happy. Let the man go do something that at least he can slightly be happy in. He might be getting beat up. He might be getting punched in the face. But dang on it, at least he attempted it. There's a lot of us that will not go get punched in the face for money. We will not do it. Even though it's guaranteed money if you get punched in the face. Like, even if you lose, you get some money, So I don't know. Like I don't really understand the backlash from the fans to him because at first everybody like I just find it funny. It's ironic now that he's lost 2 UFC fights and everybody wants to be all against him now. Like these are the same people who were sitting there like, oh, he's gonna win. He's gonna be so good. I'm glad he's doing what he loves. These are the same people that weren't necessarily mad at him for leaving. They were just they want him to come back, but they were happy he was doing something else. They were happy they could still see him. I don't know. Like, I don't understand the backlash to a certain degree. I get that fans are hurt. I understand that. But, like, at the same time, like, let the man do something that he can at least slightly be happy with. The wrestling business hurt him, and he kind of wanted to take some time away from it. And we all do it in other things. Like, in normal life, like when we get hurt somewhere, we leave and we try to find something that's completely different sometimes. Depends on who we are. But Casey, thoughts on this kind of backlash that CM Punk's receiving from his second fight? Remember to unmute your mic, by the way, because you over there dying.
I ain't dying. I'm fine. I'm good. But I mean, my criticism with it wasn't like, oh, you left wrestling, blah blah blah. I have no problem with him leaving the WWE. WWE specifically, hurt him, treated him like crap. He, the pipe bomb to kind of, say, hey, this is what's going on. This is what you don't know that's going on. So I don't have a problem with that. I have a little bit of an issue with him not coming back to wrestling in general. Like, you could still wrestle for other companies, but whatever. It's what you want to do. I'm not going to force you to, do something you don't want to do anymore. My issue with this whole thing is like, bro, your first fight, albeit it was your first fight, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on like your first fight. Like anybody's first fight, you're most likely going to lose. It's just how it is. And he did. He lost his first fight. We were like, oh, and he lost pretty bad. So we were like, oh, if he gets another fight, he'll probably be better. He'll work the kinks out. He'll know what it's really like in the UFC. He had all this time to train, and we got that fight. Like I would say this match or this fight was worse than his first fight. Like he got beat on. Like the dude was looking in the crowd while he was punching him.
Well, Like, but at the same time, wasn't like. I guess this is my thing. My thing on it is like, why are we so hard on him because it's CM Punk? Because like we've all said, CM Punk didn't have UFC experience beforehand. So 2 fights in, I don't know why we're expecting him to be Anderson Silva. Why are we expecting him to be one of the best in the world 2 fights in? He's never done it before. That's like saying you get 2 matches and we expect you to be good. If we want to come back and attribute it back to wrestling, like Eva Marie had 2 matches, that didn't mean she was good.
But like at the same time, I hate that I'm going to say this.
I mean, is it because we hyped it up so much? Like, was it just the hype of it?
I hate that I'm going to say this, but like at least Eva Marie's second match, she got a little bit better. But like, I think for me, it's like, you know, you are this big name. Like, I didn't expect him to win the fight. I expected him to train enough to look better in the fight. And I don't think he did. Like, I expected him to put up a fight.
Well, there was no winning this fight. Like, he's probably like there are plenty of guys who started off 0-2 in their fighting career, right? And are very good now. Like, I mean, Anderson Silva's record before he came to UFC wasn't necessarily great, but then he went undefeated after that until he broke his leg and then proceeded to lose the last, I think, 2 or 3 fights of his career, whatever. But like, I don't know. Like, to me, like, I feel like it's a lot of the backlash he's getting is because everybody was like, oh, CM Punk's gonna do this, CM Punk's gonna do that. It's kind of like when Johnny Manziel came to the NFL, everybody's like, oh, Johnny Manziel's gonna be great, and he didn't. And then we sat there and criticized him because of all the hype. Because no one cares that Kellen Moore hasn't gotten the chance to be great because no one knows who he is except for his like hardcore fans. But there was such a fan base behind Johnny Manziel. They were like, oh, Johnny Manziel is going to be great. Then he's not great. Who gets all the criticism? Johnny Manziel. And the same.
Oh. But the big difference between that is, and we've talked about this in our NFL predictions and things like that. Unless you're the starter, or even starters in general, you don't always get all the time to practice. Backups don't get a lot of time to practice. Rookies don't get a lot of time to practice. It was kind of the same as I'll just say in general, a lot of the rookie quarterbacks, not even just Johnny Manziel, there's been a bunch in the past couple years. DJ left. There's been a bunch in the past couple years that could have been good, but they don't get the time to really work on the practice field as much as they probably should be able to get to that, because there's a big difference between college football and the NFL, whether it's the play type, different teams do different play different styles, so that's different. Whereas with this and the UFC, he had all this time to he's CM Punk. Honestly, if he wanted to, he could get the best people to train him in the world and have all the time in the world to practice and train and train and train. And so I don't think it's the same. Hi DJ, you're back.
So my computer was doing that weird robotic thing again, and I was like, I don't know what that is. So that's why I ran away. I apologize.
But yeah.
But what were you saying? Can you repeat a little bit of that? Because I couldn't understand you.
I was saying that for with the NFL and rookies in general, you don't always get all the time on the practice field that you ideally would like to really get better and learn, the NFL style of football, because we've talked about it before. NFL style and kind of college football are completely different. That's why, a lot of these guys like Tim Tebow, he was so good in college, but the playing style was so much different, and he didn't really get that time to kind of really practice and kind of get it. Whereas with CM Punk in the UFC, he's a huge star. He had all this time, he could have kept training and training and training and had the best people in the world help him train. He had all that time. So that's where I would say the differences between like a Johnny Manziel and CM Punk would be.
But I still feel like, yes, he had time. Yes, he could have hired the best trainers and whatnot. But like, then again, that makes it seem like he didn't work to, like, just because we weren't seeing the work that he was putting in didn't mean he wasn't. Like I guess that's the thing. And kind of going back to the NFL comparison, I mean, Johnny Manziel's, he played in the what was it, the football league that tries to help you get back to the NFL, and now he's playing in the CFL. And a lot of people aren't going to see that. Even though it's nationally televised to a certain degree, at least in Canada, and they do play some of the games on ESPN. A lot of people aren't going to see that. A lot of people aren't going to know that if they don't just follow Johnny Manziel religiously. So I don't know. Like I feel like he's been discredited too much for trying this. And he had 2 fights, and we're supposed to be like, oh, he's the greatest. He wasn't going to be the greatest after 2 fights. Doesn't and sometimes you don't even get better. So you have off days. He had 2 fights in the matter of like, what was it, 8 months or whatever? Like, there was a long time between fights. It's not like he was consistently fighting all the time, which is one of the things about UFC that I think makes it hard to learn, is it's not like you're fighting all the time because of the toll it takes on your body. But should we get into Corey Graves' comments?
We should.
He said, if you do not know, Corey Graves is a little bit hurt by this whole leaving situation. I'm gonna read the tweets out. So Corey Graves, his first tweet says, maybe abandoning everyone who stood by your side even when you weren't supposed to, even when we weren't supposed to. I want to have you turn your back on us. Wasn't the right move after all. No anger, only sadness. I think this is the first tweet I saw. I think this was the first tweet he sent out, because he kind of sent like some clarity a little bit later. Basically just kind of saying that they've always been there for him, and he kind of turned his back on him. And then he followed it up with the first rule of, quote, punk rock, end quote, is loyalty, and this guy betrayed it all. I still love you, quote, friend, end quote. And I'm sorry you got lost. And then I think actually this one was beforehand, but this was one of the last ones. All the, quote, fans are disappointed. Maybe you guys should know that, quote, the dude, end quote, held my first son before I did, because I was on tour and I trusted him. I had dinner with him the week after he quit. So Corey Graves is not happy, as you can hear in the tweets. And I think it's funny because WWE will allow this because it's CM Punk, and they don't like CM Punk, so they will allow this, and they will not tell him to delete these tweets. But yeah, like, I mean, I understand Corey Graves being upset and feeling like he was, his trust was betrayed. But at the same time, I feel like Corey Graves is the same guy that probably said, "I wish you the best," when he left, and probably rooted for him the whole time. Like, I don't know why this this is my thing. My issue is, why is this coming out now? Why didn't Corey Graves say this when he first left, instead of saying this after he lost? So then you can say, "Oh, I'm right now." No, like that's not how it works. You can't, hindsight is always right. So now we're all right, because we probably all said at one point or another, oh, he's gonna lose. Oh, he's gonna lose. He's not a UFC fighter. So That's my issue with Corey Graves' comments. I understand being hurt. I get it. I can understand it. I'm fine with the subtweeting. I'm fine with that. But like to me, you're using hindsight to make yourself seem right, and I don't like it. Just my opinion. Thoughts?
I mean, I was confused with the tweets. I'll be honest, because like I didn't know all this stuff from the beginning. I didn't know about him turning his back on Corey Graves and all them. I mean, yeah, he left WWE, but I didn't know he turned his back on I mean, and again, I don't know all the details. I wasn't there with them, whatever. But at the same time, it's like if this is your friend, and your friend isn't happy where he's at because the company that he works for is not, treating him well, and he wants to leave, I don't see the problem with that. Again, I don't know all the details of everything that went on with them. But also using this kind of situation to bring this to light, kind of, and I love Corey Graves. Don't get me wrong, but he kind of seemed like a dick to me personally. I mean, your friend just lost, and you do this, like, I mean, if you, and in the tweet he said, he still loves him, whatever, and whatever. So then why would you post this? Why would you say this? You should, even if you're not happy with what he's done, even if you're not happy with, the decisions he's made, you should be supportive of him. Like, okay, yeah, you lost, but, I'm still here for you, blah, blah, blah. Again, I don't know the full details of, what CM Punk did to them, to Corey Graves, to whatever. All I know is, what we all know. CM Punk left WWE because WWE was not treating him well. He stepped away from wrestling, which, again, I would have liked to see him go to another wrestling company, but at the same time, his choice. There were a couple other people on Twitter that posted things that I follow that I didn't agree with them posting it, but it's their opinion. But we'll get to that, I guess, in a second. But yeah,
Do you can go ahead and talk about them because I don't know those right offhand.
I'm not gonna name off these people because I don't want to give them backlash or anything, because wrestling fans will attack people for no reason. But let me actually. You can talk a little bit while I look up the tweets real quick, if you have anything else to say.
I mean, like I said, man, like especially with the tweets you're probably about to bring up, like I just feel like everybody's like these, like it just feels like it's the same people who are like, sad he was leaving, but at the same time trying to support him in UFC, and now he loses. I'm fine with being truthful. Yeah, he lost. We get that, but like it just feels like everybody's trying to rub it in to me. And trying to use the power of the pretty much 100% correctness of hindsight for them to be right. For them to, I told you from the very beginning.
Yeah, actually, it was on Instagram. This person posted basically highlights of the fight of CM Punk getting his ass kicked. Basically, and said, they lined up literally the worst fighter for him, and he looked like utter garbage. Go away now. You're embarrassed, or you've embarrassed yourself again. I don't want to see you. I don't want to see him in WWE, New Japan, Ring of Honor, TNA. He's finished now. He thought he was smart trying to stick it to WWE and signing with the UFC, but ends up looking like a bitch. I hope Stephanie takes a jab at him tomorrow. While we're at it, let's be done with the CM Punk chance too. Dude got lit up by a tomato. Can can in his own hometown. I didn't agree with that. Okay, yeah, he lost the fight, but like, are you really that mad that you're gonna say, I don't want to see him in WWE, New Japan, blah blah blah? You look like a little like really, really. Come on, he just lost a fight. I don't know.
It's like too, like, tell her to go out there and challenge someone to a fight and see how it goes. Like, let's be honest. A lot of us who sit as wrestling fans will say, or people who really don't like the internet wrestling community will say, keyboard warriors will do and sit behind our keyboards. Like, let's be honest. Go out there and do it yourself and see how, even in your second fight, even against, like, he's facing the best of the best, we might add, because UFC is the top of MMA, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I could be. There might be something else that I don't know. He is facing the best of the best. And even these guys who just come in, like we've seen guys come off the Ultimate Fighter and look really good. So you never know what you're getting into, once you get into it. For me, with her comments, it's kind of like why is she so mad? Why is she so mad? Like why? I don't understand. Like, society confuses me because society hates success and society hates failure. And it's like the same thing. It's like every success and every failure is an equal brick in your mansion, a quote that I love to say all the time. But like, it's a true statement. Whether you fail, whether you succeed, you're going to learn from it in some form or fashion. And like, that's kind of my thing with this is like, yeah, he lost 2 fights. Doesn't mean he can't come back and win, or he can't say, oh, well, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I should go back to doing something else. Maybe I should go back to the challenge. Maybe I should go back to whatever else he's been able to do, since leaving WWE. Like, I don't understand it. Like, people hate LeBron because people claim he's the greatest, and people hate, I don't know, insert terrible player here that I don't want to name. Like, insert terrible player here that people think is terrible because they're not that good. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just like this tweet to me, or this Instagram post, I should say. It just seems like they're bitter that he left, and they're like, oh, I don't want to see him anywhere, but probably was the same person chanting CM Punk every week at a wrestling show.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I do agree with is the let's stop the CM Punk chants, because just stop. But then they may have lined up the worst fighter for him to fight. But then again, like DJ just said, this is the UFC. Even the worst fighter in the UFC is one of the best fighters in the world. Like, you're not just handing out like UFC contracts to anybody. Like, I I said something similar back when the Olympics were on. Like, they people talk crap about certain countries in the Olympics, but if you're in the Olympics, even the worst athlete in the Olympics at whatever sport they're in is one of the best in the world. So to say that you lined up the worst fighter in the world or in UFC to face him, so kind of a good fighter. I'm just saying,
and you can't say, like, just because you don't know him doesn't mean they're the worst fighter in the world. I guess people are like, oh, he's the worst fighter in the world because they don't know who he is, because he's not this like mainstay guy. But they're not gonna put CM Punk against a mainstay guy in his second fight either. Like, it's ridiculous. I like, yeah, I agree. Like, it's one of those things. Like, you can take the worst player in the NBA and put him in a pickup game against all of us, he's still gonna beat us, right? Like, he's still gonna beat us. He's in the NBA. Like it's just like it. it's dumb. Like the backlash, like I understand. Like I mean, obviously, if you lose, people are gonna criticize you for it. Duh, I get that. But sometimes I feel like people are going too far with it and like trying to like personally ostracize the man. Um, and still trying to be the same people who were sitting there when he was talking bad about WWE. Like when it was when it was something they believed, they were right there with him. When he was talking bad about WWE, everybody was like, "Oh yeah, you know he's right," but he tries to do something else, and we're like, "Oh, he sucks." Why can't he try something new? Why? I mean, he doesn't. You're not going to be good at everything you do.
Yeah, I mean, for a while I wasn't the biggest CM Punk fan. I was more of a fan of him, like mid 2000s. You know, back when he was still in like Ring of Honor and before he came, even like the beginning in WWE. The first couple of years he was in WWE, I was still a big fan. But either way, like whatever he decides to do, if he decides to try to stay in UFC and have another fight, I'll give him, the benefit of the doubt. If he decides he wants to come back to wrestling, I'll watch whatever promotion he decides to go to see what they do with him. I feel like people just need to be supportive. Like, you like UFC, you like professional wrestling, be supportive of those people. Like, don't tear them down just because, for this, honestly, for no reason. He lost a fight. Okay. I think a lot of these people are doing it for attention. I'm gonna post this, bad tweet or Instagram post, whatever, about how CM Punk got beat up, and everyone's gonna like it, and I'm gonna get so many new followers, blah blah blah. I really think that's a big part of it. People are just trying to get attention, and it's stupid. There's so many other ways you can get attention that other than breaking somebody down who tried to do something new.
Yeah, I agree. You got any more tweets, or should we wrap the show up here?
I'm good.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna need you to end the video for me because I'm on my phone again. Because I don't know what it was. You were robotic, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. Let me run away, go get my phone, see what's going on here. But anyway, we do hope you guys enjoyed. We do. Be sure that if you want more content like this, give this a like. Let us know you liked it. Like the Facebook page, facebook.com/ICW podcast, and also be sure to subscribe as well. But we'll see you guys next time. I think the next video we got coming up is NXT. Still need to talk to Casey about what we want to do with that because I don't know what the heck we're going to do with that. Yes.
DJ's forgetting a lot recently. I think he's getting old. I think
predictions. Dang it, predictions.
Not even that. Like, this is something I literally talked to him about today. Yesterday, technically now. Tomorrow we have a special video.
You're right. Dang.
Yeah, with two special guests that we'll talk about tomorrow. But tune in for that. Yeah, DJ, what else do we have this week?
Yeah, send me that reminder text. We got predictions, which we'll do. I'm guessing we're gonna do it Wednesday, so we don't put too much on everybody on Tuesday. So we'll probably do it on Wednesday, and then obviously we got NXT and Impact coming up as well. But other than that, we'll see you guys next time. Hit that subscribe button for us. Maybe I'll remember some stuff if you hit it. It's probably what it is. It's probably what it is. You hit the subscribe button. I'm like, oh, an idea just pops up in my head. Like, oh yeah, I remember that now. But anyway, we'll see you guys next time. Hope you guys enjoyed. This was a little discussion. Is that a real thing? Shut up. A discussion about Corey Graves and the CM Punk second fight.
I think what he was trying to say is a discussion slushy. It's like
discussion.
Yeah, we done.